There's nothing finer to me than to be on the water when that sun comes peeking in under that Carolina sky in the Lord's creation. Ripping some lips on my favorite waters, taking blind hog adventures with some of my best buddies.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Red Line Rigs Raleigh show as we were at the Bass and Saltwater Expo. We want to thank you for tuning in to the Blind Hog Adventures Inshore Saltwater Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Furlow, along with my great friend and podcast partner, Gaston King. We just thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to this second part of this behind-the-scenes episode where we just laugh, have a great time, joke on one another, but get down to some really good information on how we can help you be a better fisherman in and out of the water with some tips and tricks, things we all use, and just some great stories along the way. Before we get to the second part of this podcast, though, we want to pause and say thank you to our sponsors who make this possible, and we just want to say thank you so much to them. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor as we begin our second season of the Inshore Saltwater Podcast, you can actually reach out to Gaston or myself. You can reach out to blindhogadventures@gmail.com. We're looking for a few more sponsors as we are going to kind of bring in some of our sponsors this year. We're looking to do a heavy hitter season in season 2. It's been such a blessing to do this so far. We actually have listeners from Texas all the way to New Hampshire, and so it's a great platform for you if you're looking to get into a small budgeted but also a very effective way to advertise for your business. Just reach out to Gaston or I, and we'll be glad to help you get on board as we begin season 2 in November. But before we get to our show, let's tell you about some of our sponsors. Today's episode is made possible by great companies, including Redline Rigs. You can enter in code BHA10 to save 10% off your order when you go to redlinerigs.com. Redline Rig products are truly designed and tested by a team of professional and recreational fishermen to ensure innovation and experience. With every skill level angler in mind, it's evident when they bring out the names in their lineup, including the Festigator and Dinner Bell popping corks, the Mayday jig heads, and their red belly swim hooks. You can also find partner companies like Voodoo, Coastal Brew, Saudi Bay, and 3JD. Gaston and I are proud to be part of this team as pros, and we are glad to represent them in every kind of way. We appreciate them and their support from the beginning of this podcast. Stroud and Son Marine, your trusted family-owned marine service and boat dealership servicing Eastern North Carolina for over 20 years. Located on Highway 17, just outside of Eatonton, North Carolina, Renee, Joe, and Jeannie are there for all of your boat, kayak, power sales, and service needs. You can reach them at stroudandson.com. You can also follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. They are our boat seller and servicer of choice, and both Gaston and I were proud to buy our boats from there and get our servicing done. There's never waits in putting your boat on the lot just to wait until it's your turn. They give you a date, a time you can drop off, pick up, and get you back on the water. Fox Hollow Outdoors. You can save 15% on any order there by entering in the code BHA15 when you visit foxhollowOutdoors.com. They're also on Instagram at Fox Hollow Outdoors, and they basically are where passion meets purpose. Founded by a father and son duo from Eastern North Carolina, Michael and Margaret Letchworth were inspired by a love of fishing, hunting, and living life in the wild. From game-changing seasonings to branded apparel and premium gear, they can bring the spirit of the wild straight to you. Saltstrong, family, fishing, and freedom. The most trusted saltwater community in America with over 60,000 insider members from Delaware to Texas. Find them at saltstrong.com, and where they can equip you to catch more inshore saltwater fish than any other platform out there. Become part of the family at saltstrong.com. And last but not least, Saudi Bay Baits. You can get all of their great lineup at saudibaybaits.com. Gaston and I are proud to be pro staff members of Saudi Bay Bay with Tim and the crew over there. Great baits for a great purpose and a great time. Reach them at saudibaybaits.com. Now let's get to our show to pick up on part 2 of the Redline Rigs crew at the Raleigh Bass and Saltwater Expo.
So we're going to segue off of Corey for a minute.
Change the subject.
Change the subject. Good deflection. Good deflection. All right. So speaking of that, so what's the reason for the leader material? Because do you see a difference?
So my thought process is this, and here's what kind of opened my eyes up to it is
because you're the popping cork guy. So
honestly,
is there a difference?
Is fishing with Gaston.
Okay.
Gaston opened my eyes. I had never used the cigar cork very much. I made them.
Yeah.
But my bread and butter was that oval cork.
Right.
That was kind of my confidence. Well, Gaston said, "Hey, you're going to come fishing with me, and you're going to use that cigar cork, and I'm going to show you how effective it is."
I didn't make you do that. I just wore you out so bad that you changed over to it.
Gaston held me down, took every oval cork that I had. No, he got on the boat and he said, "You're going to just try it. I promise you." And we went out and we wore them out. The cigar cork, a 2-inch baby voodoo shrimp, white and chartreuse and absolutely slayed them.
Yeah.
And it opened my eyes to the concept of when it's colder weather, or if those fish are being a little more finicky, or if you're targeting those speckled trout, really finding that bait that's under the cork, slowing it down, okay? Slowing down that rate of fall and keeping it in that strike zone the longest, right? That 1/16 ounce baby voodoo shrimp, it slowed it down where it was keeping it there in front of their face long enough that they couldn't not eat it.
So, question on that one. You said slow it down. So, Gaston, I'll ask you this because he has mimicked what you're doing, and I say that in a positive way. Do you use the mono just because it's cheaper, or because I'll tell you the reason I use fluoro most of the time is because I found it sinks faster, and most of the time I'm fishing a jig, so I want it to sink. So for those out there listening, maybe you learned something too, and I learned this today, honestly, just kind of talking, and it kind of clicked a little bit, and it did when you said that. So you say you use a lighter poundage under your popping cork, but you go mono because you want it to stay up you want it to actually float down slower in the presentation under the popping cork. Is that right?
I'm not smart enough to know any of that. So
What do you use?
the
Why you
reason
use?
I throw mono is I was breaking fish off on fluoro. I did a little bit of research and found that the more times you snatch and have pressure, it puts a weak spot in the fluoro.
Okay.
And it has potential, if you catch 3 or 4 fish, you get a weak spot, a big fish bites, you snatch, break your line.
Okay.
So I just felt like the mono gave me more stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I am definitely not smart enough to know what sinks faster or anything like that.
Fluoro
All I
sinks
know is
faster.
that little 2-inch voodoo shrimp sits there in front of that trout's face and they sink that cork. And it's
Well,
fun.
I can
We wear
attest to
them
that,
out.
and we saw it on video. And he wore me out that day, even on a cigar versus cigar. So I had about an 18-inch fluoro, and he had an 18-inch mono. So I will say, if you take everything else, apples for apples, I'm gonna say what he said, and it's cheaper. It actually saved me some money next time I buy something.
It is cheaper.
It's a lot cheaper. You can
Well,
buy a Walmart spool
I mean-
of it a lot cheaper than you can buy a 20-yard thing of
That's right.
fluoro.
And one thing I will say is, just like anything else, it is extremely situational. If you go in my tackle box now, you're going to find a roll of Berkeley Big Game spool of mono. You're going to find a roll of probably Seaguar fluorocarbon. You're going to find both. And if I get into some extremely clear water, if I get into some extremely finicky fish, if I do want that to sink a little bit faster, then absolutely I'm going to tie on some fluoro. But kind of like Captain Gaston said, I like that slower rate of fall. I like that stretch that it gives me. And more than anything, I'm a poor country boy. I like that price.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I use the crankbait snap. I don't have to retie, but plus it's easier. I'm really gonna blow your mind on this. So how about I was tying a loop knot to the crankbait snap? So I had,
You know what? Okay, Corey told me this today.
I had a double motioner in right there, but
Corey told me this
Pretty
today.
sure you just broke the internet.
And I really wanted.
we listen and we don't judge.
I wanted to say that on this podcast, but I also didn't want to throw Corey under
Hey,
the bus
I'm
like
a
that.
big
So
boy.
I've never heard
A loop
anything.
knot.
This has been Blind Hogs Adventures Podcast.
He
Thanks
had
for your
so
time.
much snap in those Twitch baits. They were probably going backwards, doing 360.
Dude, say what you want, but I've caught a many a fish down that setup and it's on camera.
He just reeled back straight and walks the dog.
It
by
just
itself.
walks it all by itself.
You guys are talking about how finicky the fish are, whether they bite fluoro or mono. I mean, I've had people, and I think you had a day like this, where the fish, you could throw the same thing, but they only wanted a red jig head.
Yes.
Well, I've heard people say, well, I threw an 1/8 ounce and didn't catch anything, switched to a quarter, and I started wearing them out.
We had that happen yesterday.
I mean, there's
We
so
went
many
yesterday.
crazy little things, and I'm not one to change a jig head. I mean, to me, if fish are either there, they're going to bite, or they're not hungry, they're not feeding.
If we hadn't have done that yesterday, and we were in some deeper water on some ledges, but if we hadn't have slowed our presentation down, where I was fishing with a quarter, and the guy actually lost, we hooked on the bottom, he lost one, and he said, all I got's an 1/8 ounce. And the wind was blowing a good 20-25 mile an hour. We were behind a point tucked in, had water running by us. Water temps were about 39, 40 degrees, and we had saw some fish and had a couple bumps, but nothing major. Literally, he went to that 1/8 ounce, and he had matter of fact, he had a 5-inch coastal. He put a 5-inch coastal brew on. I said, here, try this right here. He had never tried them before.
Available at redlinerigs.com.
True, very true. And I'm gonna tell you, he put one of those on, threw it over, and man, I'm telling you, that sink rate was different. And I'm telling you, the first cast he threw over, nailed it, bam. I was like, wow. I said, that's a fluke. That's just, it is what it is. He got that one in. I threw right behind him, and I had a bump, but nothing. I guess it was going by him so fast, going where the water was carrying it. They weren't getting a good chance to hit it, and they were lethargic. We got that one off, threw it back over. Next cast, he threw it right, but you had to cast 20 yards to the right of where you wanted the bait to actually go in the sink rate. He went right back to the same spot, bam, hit it again. I mean, he caught a 19 and a 20-inch fish right back to back. Well, I can tell you what I did. I switched my jig head real quick.
Oh, we know.
But you know what? As soon as I did, next cast, right behind it, went to the same exact spot, and it floated right through it. I caught that 23. We caught 3 23s in a matter of probably 5 minutes. But you had to cast it 20 yards to the right and let that water carry it. The water was bringing, and the flow was coming out, and you had to let it carry it around that point. And they wanted a certain spot, but if you cast it at that spot, they wouldn't bite it. You had to cast it 20 yards to the right, about,
let it come to
and
them.
let it come to them at that certain fall rate, and they'd come up and ambush it. And they were sitting on that ledge.
Especially,
Now with that VMC crank snap, how long did it take you to change that jig head?
Not 3 seconds.
That's
Well,
impressive.
especially this time of year, and like I said, I know I keep beating a dead horse here, but especially this time of year, those fish are extremely lethargic and extremely opportunistic.
Yeah.
They're wanting to get as many calories, not necessarily at one time. They're not, they're not going to pass up a big bait in front of their face, but it's okay to throw that little voodoo. They're looking for
Easy.
they're looking for easy. They're
Yeah.
looking for getting as many calories in without having to put any calories out,
Yeah,
without
effort.
having to burn any calories.
Well, that's why it's still good to throw that popping cork this time of year. A lot of people think cold. No, they won't bite the popping cork. Man, if you just extend that leader from the cork to the shrimp, just a foot, make it 3 foot. I mean, it sits in front of their face.
Because we found them yesterday. We sat the boat in 3 feet of water. We were casting out to 15 feet of water, but they were basically hitting it on about a 7-foot ledge. So, I mean, if you put that bait, like I said, you could throw that popping cork out and bring it across. They were coming up every time. So, I didn't try one yesterday because of the wind blowing so hard. But I'm sure they would have bit it. I mean, I don't have no doubt.
It's no different. I know Ross. Ross. I think all of you. With like a mirror lure style bait or a twitch bait.
Yeah.
I know they're huge right now, and if those fish are staged extremely low in the water column, if they're very deep, you might need that 18 or whatever to get down there to them. But if you can throw that 17 with that little bit slower sink rate, keeping it there in front of their face longer, and it goes. I'm trying to get across that it goes not just for. I know we're talking about corks because we're Redline Rig.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we go to all the time, but it goes across everything. Whether you're throwing a jig head and a soft plastic, whether you are throwing a popping cork, a mirror lure style bait, the longer you can keep that in front of their face, really 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
But especially this time of year when it's extremely cold, those fish are real lethargic, looking for that opportunistic, time to feed.
Yeah.
Across any style of fishing, keep it in front of their face the longest, and that kind of goes back to that mono versus fluoro thing.
It really
I guess
is.
it is a preference. I mean,
It really is.
That'll be something that'll people will split hairs over their entire life. I don't have a dog in the fight. It just so happens, like I said, it's more that I'm cheap than anything.
Yeah, and I don't
Really.
see a difference. I made a joke by having orange mono for my leader. Obviously not. Always clear. Yozuri pink's pretty good too, fluorocarbon.
That's what I got.
But being more or less, if I'm doing a top water or a popper quirk, it's gonna be mono. I don't want my fluorocarbon on top water, it's gonna sink. Now front hook catches it a lot.
I guess I need to.
That's what I was talking. Okay, yes, that explains it more.
So
Okay.
guys, also with the popping quirk, I always use mono as well for the same reason. And if it's deep water and it's cold and I want thing down, fluoro's you feel more confident in it. I guess I do anyway.
Yeah.
But a couple years back, through a company that we both know, did a little test of mono versus fluoro.
To my salt strong.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if we could put that.
Yeah,
on
that's
there.
fine. Yeah, they're part of the crew, man.
And shout out Stall Strong. But yeah, so they're like, oh well, mono, fluoro, big debate. So I did one whole year strictly mono,
Okay.
and I did not see a difference in catching or ability to work a bait or lure versus fluorocarbon. Just one whole year, nothing but mono. Anywhere from 15 to 30 pound. And I go a little heavier on my leader. I fish a lot of oyster shells, a lot of sumps, a lot of areas where you get snagged and wrapped around and break stuff off. And my first year at Texas, I went fishing down there. Those guys fish 30-pound leaders
All the time.
all the time.
Wow.
A lot of rocks and stuff down there.
They got a lot of rocks, and those big girls will chafe you
Oh,
off
yeah.
too, you know. But I tell you, fluorocarbon versus mono, like also said, applications, you know, top water or a popping cork goes hand in hand. But as far as throwing out a jerk bait or a mirror lure or whatever, I haven't yet to see a difference as far as catch rate. You know?
That's awesome.
I think
That's yeah.
I think it's regional too. You know, you talk
Yeah.
to a lot of people down there in Florida.
Yeah, if
They're
you're-
going to be a lot more fluorocarbon based because they've got that
Yeah.
extremely clear
yeah,
water.
yeah. That's
Water
it.
clarity is huge.
And
too.
But you know, when you have a crankbait snap, or you have great big hooks, or you've got, let's be real. I mean, if they're
They're
gonna
seeing all-
they're seeing a lot. I mean, so if they're
I
still
got a
willing to
jerk
bite
bait
it,
sitting here that's got a 3-inch lip on them.
yeah, I mean, so if
inch
they're,
lip.
that's right. If
Well,
they're
3-inch
on a
bait.
3-inch bait with an inch lip, you know, and if they're seeing that stuff, I mean, really, I think sometimes it's the fishermen that have the preference over the fish.
Oh yeah.
And you know, especially a lot of eastern North Carolina water, until it gets in the winter a lot, where you know the water starts to clear up in some of those places. Most of the time, it's tea stained enough that they're not going to. They're reaction striking or seeing something that they like, and or a sunbeam hits it and gives it a reflection or something like that. It's kind of like one of them hills you stand on, and really there's no reason to die on it. Just go to the other side and keep on going. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, sometimes we do that. We do it with all kind of brands, whether it's rods, reels, trucks, cars. You know, we do college football teams as we're watching the game tonight. You know, whatever we do that, and really when you think about it, it's kind of ridiculous. But then it's like, hey, you gotta.
Whatever makes you feel good.
It
You-
does.
when
If it's
when you
there,
cast
do
that
it, man.
lure out or that cork out, where it makes you feel confident you're gonna get a bite. That's
Do
what
it,
you
man.
gotta do.
So that's
If
the
it is.
nail on the head right there.
Yeah.
Is confidence.
Fish it with
Just have
confidence.
confidence in what you're throwing. If you
It's
don't have
amazing.
confidence in it, be like Corey, just take your snap and change it out.
It's amazing how much having confidence in something, no matter what it is, if you have confidence in it, throw it.
That's it.
It's amazing how much having confidence in something can truly change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can't get confidence without trying some new things and kind of expanding. And so
Yeah.
I encourage you to try things. And I'm preaching to the choir right
Yeah.
now. You know,
Me too.
I go out on the water. I throw a popping cork. I throw the soft plastic. You know, I'll
throw
got my
10 baits in
handful-
10 minutes.
I
I
know
ain't
you
scared.
will. But I've got my handful of certain things that I throw all the time, and I keep saying I need to leave all of those at home to force myself to try new things.
Nah,
And
I
build
had
that
confidence.
confidence.
I had
in
too much
yourself.
anxiety. I couldn't do it.
I've got 3 baits I throw. I mean, really, if it came down to it, I could fish the
Well,
rest of my life
I
with
feel
3
like I
baits.
could name them.
You probably can. I mean, it's
Cigar cork and a voodoo shrimp,
yep, that's one.
mirror lure,
Grape
With-
soda.
Grape soda 17.
grape soda 17 mirror lure,
Yep,
and a soft plastic.
yep, it's gonna be a soft plastic. And if I'm choosing, I think I said this in the last podcast, sexy mullet.
Yeah.
That's a
3-inch sexy mullet is, I mean, clear water, dirty water, doesn't matter. That
That's a
sexy
bad
mullet
color.
is is top notch to me. So yeah, you give me
Yeah.
those 3 baits the rest of my life, I don't need a crank snap or whatever they are. I don't need to change any baits. But
It's
I mean,
fun, you know, it's
seriously,
funny they pick on you about that
confidence.
crank snap because Austin will tell you, our dad, he'll go out there and no matter what, when we're freshwater fishing,
snap swivel.
snap swivel on everything so he can switch stuff out.
Everything.
And that guy will catch some of the biggest fish out there.
He's one of those that he'll go out there and with just the most crazy looking bottom rib. I mean, it's got metal everywhere. It looks like you're casting, you know, a whole crab pot out there.
It shimmers.
And he'll cast it out there, sit it down right beside him, fall asleep, and wake up with a slot drum on the end of it. And I kid you not.
It's like them
just-
boys in the deer stand that fall asleep and wake up and they got the
Yeah,
great big
yeah.
20-inch sitting in front of them.
Yeah,
You
he
know?
does it all the time.
Yeah.
So, question
Yeah.
for Gaston.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
So, sexy mullet. I'm right there with you, man. That is
Is that a red line rig sexy mullet?
Can be,
red line
absolutely.
rigs.
And- and
Siren
anything.
Jack.
So,
Sexy
so
mullet.
for those that don't
See,
know,
man,
explain
minnow.
the colors involved in sexy mullet. For those that may not know, I mean, being for real.
Chartreuse and blue
Okay.
with blue flake.
Okay.
So my question is this: is what I'm with you. I love it. That's one of my favorite colors to throw. It's a confidence color for me. What is it that makes that color? I guess my question is this: is you see all these baits that's got chartreuse tails. You got any kind of bait that's got some chartreuse something in it. Just always seems to do well. What is it about the chartreuse that gets them? What do they think it is, or is it just something different?
I have no idea. I think it's something different because there's nothing in the water naturally that is chartreuse. I mean, there's nothing they feed on that's chartreuse.
The only thing you can look at is like if you're looking at the back of a fatback sail or a bunker or whatever y'all want to call them. At times they get kind of a yellowish color on the back end of them. Also, our green-tailed shrimp.
That's what I was wondering.
Our green-tails have a little bit,
right?
but green-tails aren't really necessarily in the sound as much as the brown shrimp.
Yeah.
So that's the only bit.
But these fish are traveling out of a lot of times the bigger water coming back to the fresher water.
But I thought that a long time. Like, what in our natural environment is chartreuse?
Some of those little small pinfish sometimes have a little bit of
they're yellow,
the yellowish stripe.
They have that yellow.
That's what I've always thought, but I just wanted some clarification on.
So
it.
my thing is,
I
think one thing that's in our favor is we're talking about a very, very aggressive fish.
Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, they are looking to feed almost 24/7.
That's why that thump, man, that thump's
yeah,
addictive. That's why you love it.
You know, and these fish, and it goes back to a reaction strike too. A lot of people throw a curly tail. I throw a paddle tail, so you get some thump, some vibration in there. But it's just a react. I mean, you drag it across their face, and they're going to eat.
So, do you think that? Kind of just to elaborate on that. Do you think? I know there's you walk in a tackle shop. Okay, Joe Blow that's getting into fishing. He walks in a tackle shop. It is extremely overwhelming to look at that wall of soft plastics and the millions of different colors.
Yes.
Is color more important to you, or is the action of the bait itself? Does that make sense?
I would say action of the bait. I mean, I've caught trout on every color under the sun. I just throw sexy mullet because I'm confident in sexy mullet. I know it's going to catch a fish. I feel like if a fish is down there, he's going to eat sexy mullet. If I was going to tell somebody to pick 3 colors, I like anything green, anything purple, and I think you have to have a white.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, greens and purples for some reason with trout. And a lot of I leave pink out. I really don't throw. I don't throw.
I was like, come on now.
I'm gonna throw pink in there.
And
now.
it's hard to beat pink.
Everybody
you can beat it as much as you want to. It's hard to beat it.
No, I have nothing against it. I just don't throw it. I have so much confidence in the greens and purples.
I mean, greens. I mean, that lime pearl. You know, shout out Z-Man. That's a go-to color in Outer Banks. I mean, I grew up. We fish a red jig head with a green curly tail gotcha.
Yeah.
Now that lime pearl kind of taking over, but I'm with you there. I mean, anything green, purple, and white's one of those colors. It's like, well, it's so plain Jane, but it's so versatile.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, and my dad will say this.
So
there was like 3 colors. There was an all-white grub, a white grub with a chartreuse tail, and a white grub with a pink tail. That was your 3 options for trout fishing. And these guys went out and filled coolers with these baits. Mm-hmm. And you can do the same thing today, and I've said this. I mean, the color really is for us. If you're in the right place at the right time and the fish are feeding, it doesn't matter. I've told people I could take a piece of a red rag and put it on a treble hook, and there's days I could catch trout, I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when they're feeding like that, they are feeding. And it doesn't matter what you throw.
I think they go hand in hand with, I think color is extremely important in certain scenarios. I think it's not so much, I don't think it's so much the color as it is more or less the shade. If you're in a clearer water, throw a lighter bait. Throw something, match the hatch. Throw something more of a bait fish color.
Well, and the sparkle shines through with the sun and stuff.
That darker color or dusk or going into nighttime, throw something with a little bit maybe darker shade, a purple or even a purple and black and something. But I think that, like you said, Gaston, I think the action, I think that the thump of the tail or the action of that mirror lure or the MHC lure or whatever the case may be, I think that action is, it takes precedent a little bit.
I've noticed just different waters and the clarity seems to be a big thing. And I do travel around and fish a lot of different waters. And I have noticed, depending on the water, and I think, like I said, Gaston is partial to that, where he fishes is more of a tea-stained, it's more of a stained fishery. And so with that water change, he is right? That white, that purple, and that green. Those colors they're going to see it from deeper water, and they're going to come up and attack it, and they're going to see the silver on the bottom or the white or whatever it is or whatever color that chartreuse or orange or whatever he's going to throw, and then he's going to see the pink, going to give it a good shadow, and the silver or whatever colors on the side is going to provide some of that shimmer when the sun comes up. Ooh. So he's got the whole part of it done. What I have noticed is when I get closer toward the coast, I can't use those colors as much, so that's where I throw in the pinks more. I throw in more of my beer run color. Something when the sun comes up and gives it more of that, starting to get that flake and that effect by that sparkle, something like that. But you have more. To me, you have more smaller bait fish down there, and they seem to move in as the bait fish gets bigger. So I don't know. I throw, depending on where I'm at, it's what colors I'm going to throw, or at least start out kind of where I'm going to throw.
Well, and it's hard to deny that, especially in the wintertime, when it gets cold like this, that pink really seems to shine with
like
trout. And one thing, and credit to Tim Askew with Salty Bay Baits, one of our closest friends, and also a Redline Rigs Pro staffer, but he kind of explained it to me like this one time, because I asked him, this time of year, you're cold. Well, what happens when you get cold? Your blood kind of rushes to the surface a little bit trying to warm you up. Those shrimp are the same way. Those shrimp kind of get a little translucent. They're cold. They're in that cold water. And in doing that with their blood trying to kind of warm them up, they kind of get that little bit of a pink hue to them.
Yeah.
And that kind of opened my eyes up. I'm like, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense to me, and that's what they're feeding on.
And trout eat their own, and they got a purple hue to them. So, if you look, they're either going to eat the bait, so they're going to do a brown, some kind of version of a brown, because we know 808 works and that kind of stuff. So, basically, a brown, everything is going to be a combination of brown, green, purple, pink, white. I mean, some kind of, you basically throw those colors there.
Was 808 that color topwater you had?
Yeah.
It was that dark and orange.
Yeah.
Well, here's another
gold
thing about
orange
topwater
color.
bait, right?
You see
The
bottom
only
of it.
color that matters is what's on the bottom.
And that was that.
You get this beautiful bait, and it's completely white on the bottom. And it's got all these colors up top.
But it's been paint
and it looks
brushed on the
like
side.
a mullet or
Oh, yeah.
whatever. The fish have no clue it looks like a mullet. it's just a reaction strike.
They see a shadow coming across
you
the
have
top.
made that fish mad, and he says, okay, well, it's time to eat. I mean, you talk about pink. Everybody loves pink, and you catch so many trout on pink. What is pink that they eat? The only time a shrimp is pink is when you cook it. He's brown. He's brown in the water. He's not pink in the water. And
when I take him out of that old bait,
absolutely, that's the only time. But here's the thing
That's
too.
a little bit more of a confidence thing.
Absolutely.
He's zoned out for that last conversation we just had about the blood. It's okay. We'll talk after the podcast.
But that day that you caught your 30 incher and I caught 28 and a half incher, I was at a pink fat boy and I was wearing them out.
So
and then I saw something boil on the surface, put on a pink skitter walk, and then, but also I threw a lemon drop from Coastal Marsh, Soft Iron XL, to catch them that chartreuse. So bright colors in a stained water.
it gets their attention.
I don't know. And when it gets clear, I don't really gravitate to chartreuse as much.
I don't
But
either. Yeah.
some people, like in Florida, like the lime truce that Coastal Brew Baits is carrying.
Man, I love that bait.
Or it's not lime truce. I'm sorry about the name. We'll fix that.
It's limeade.
Limeade.
Yeah, that's all right. It's limeade,
It's
man.
Yeah, it's
That thing's awesome.
clear water with the sparkle, and I can see that being, grab their attention for sure.
I tell you, and I found it to be and I can't wait to try it in like Swan Quarter and all those areas this spring when I'm down there, or even on the Outer Banks. I'm definitely going to try it this summer when I'm down there in the spring and all. But I found as this water has cleared up, man, it has been dangerous, even in the Pamlico, Noose, Pungo, whatever. I mean, it. And if you talk to Ricky Kell, an old speckled specialist, he's going to tell you pink above every other color. And I don't know what looks peppermint either, but those little peppermint little slicks, dude, them things, they call all kinds of it. But I think it just is, like you said, but you fish that bait, you fish the bait aggressive. Yeah. And that's the thing, when you pop that thing up, or anything we're fishing, right, with these coastal brews or with a popping cork, think about it, everything's aggressive motions. So the fish hear something, and then they see something, and they react to what they see.
That's right.
But that bait, whatever we're fishing, even whether it's the jerk shads or whatever bait we're fishing, it's going to be moving and darting, and so that fish sees it, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta make a decision, and I'm going to hit it, or I'm not." And basically, like you said, until you get this time of year when you really start to slow something down, or a winter fishery when you do slow a bait down and take a little bit more, but you're still fishing it the same way. You're just slowing down your pauses and your pops, but. I don't know. I'm like y'all. I think it's I think almost everything is a reaction, one way or the other.
And one thing that I'll say is, if you're listening to this podcast and you're just starting to get into the saltwater world, let's say you come from a bass fishing background and you're starting to get into it, don't let any of this overwhelm you. I do encourage you to check out a popping cork, whether it's ours or Four Horsemen or Billy Bay or any of them that you can get your hands on. They're an extremely easy and fun way to fish. It's a great way to get started in it. But use what you have. We went down to the Neuse River and was fishing one time, and I had a buddy of mine. He came from a bass fishing background, done it his whole life. And he said, "Man, I just don't know what to fish. I don't know what to do." And I said,
Zoom Super Fluke, dude, and all else fails. You can get a bag of 12 of them for $4.
We rolled up to the boat ramp. He said, "I just don't know what to throw." I said, "Okay, if you were bass fishing, what would you throw?" He said, "Well, there's a little chop on the water, a little bit of wind going." He said, "I would probably roll a spinnerbait." I said, "Then roll a spinnerbait."
You catch a red quick on a spinnerbait.
He tied on a Terminator spinnerbait, and 30 minutes into our fishing trip, he had his first slot drawn.
Yeah,
I watched that man catch an 18, 19-inch beautiful flounder, the extinct flatfish that used to be in North Carolina, on like a 7 or 8-inch Cinco, purple Cinco.
Yeah.
So use what you have. You know, these fish, it's like Gaston was saying a second ago, it's an action thing, it's a reaction thing. Use what you have, just get out there. Get out there and enjoy.
Get out there and have fun.
Well, and I'll say this too, and there's probably going to be plenty of people that disagree with this, but if I'm fishing and we fished together this day, but there was menhaden everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, if there's menhaden everywhere, I'm not necessarily going to go grab a MirrOlure 17 and just throw amongst them. I mean, you look exactly like what's down there. So, you know, that's back to your pinks and your greens and your purple. Something different, and it catches their attention. I mean, you know, that day there was menhaden everywhere, and we were using the little voodoo shrimp.
Yeah.
I mean, now they were feeding that day too. But, you know, that's something to think about. Sometimes you want to be opposite of what is there, just to stand out a little bit. Get it below, and that's another big thing, is make sure you get your bait below those mints. So, that, I mean, you're kind of the first choice. If they're coming up, your bait is before the mint.
Or on the edge of those schools of bait.
Yeah,
don't throw it in the middle. I mean, yeah, it depends on the type of your fishing, but I'll rephrase. Yes, if you're tarpon or big drum fishing or rock fishing, then yes. But if you're trout fishing and you see those fish on the edge, throw to the edge, because what it's going to be, right? Most time your weaker ones, your ones that are hurt and damaged, stuff like that, are going to be on the side, or those trout are looking for an easy meal. So if you can draw a little bit of attention when they're coming up to feed, and you have something very easy to present there, do it. I mean, any advantage you can do. I mean, try it all. It doesn't mean you have to. It's not the gospel, but try in there, try in the school, try around it, do whatever. But just don't try this one thing if unless you find it starting to work. But then stick with it. But if you have something that is a little against the norm, don't think just because you're doing something different you're wrong. It just means everything's a learning opportunity. But y'all,
you should try to learn something every day. Even if you don't catch fish, you should still learn. Okay, well, I didn't catch fish in this place. Why?
It's crazy how y'all. I'm sitting here thinking the same thing. It's amazing how I was going to say don't never stop learning.
No,
we've all been fishing our whole lives. Mm-hmm. You know, we sell tackle. We're at I learned so much from you guys. I learned so much from these people we're always learning. We're always still trying to perfect our craft, and we'll never perfect it. It's always something that we continue to.
Choice, but to keep learning.
Yeah, you always keep learning because
choice. You'll never know it all.
Things
Once
change.
you got to figure it out.
I learned something from Rock. I said I was wondering why my front hook kept getting wrapped up in my line a lot of times.
And that crankbait snap.
Yeah, that was the problem. I mean, we don't even have to ask that.
True. But he made a good point when he was talking about the front, the line dipping, because I was like, okay, and I actually mentioned that to Brian DeHart. We were talking one day. DeHart, man, he's awesome.
He's the first guy to TV trout fishing.
Yeah, dude, he's a great guy.
Yep.
And he was telling me, he said, I don't understand why it's sinking. He said, I don't know why your front hook's getting caught up. It shouldn't. He says, when you're casting, I'm like, no, it's almost more when I'm working the bait. And he was like, I don't know. He said maybe change up and go to a lighter leader and see if that'll make a difference. But it makes sense. You talking about I hadn't thought about that until you just mentioned it. About, hey, maybe when I fish that, my leader needs to be mono instead of whatever. If I'm fishing mono and going, then I can use it for all purposes that day. Where if I know right now and it's really, really cold and I'm not going to, and I'm going to fish the bottom more, then I'm great doing my fluoro. But if I've got both in the bag, I got the option, right? And it's just a quick tie and snip, and you're good to go. But like you say, each time
metal sinks, right?
Yes, metal sinks. And y'all, my crankbait snap ain't your old grandpa's swivel snap.
This
it's
dude's got a paper clip tied to the end of his line.
And wonders why his line's sinking.
That's it. No, it's the small ones. It is rated at 30 to 50 pounds.
I just can't figure that one out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But you talk about learning something all the time, and we're forced to learn, right? Because baits change.
Look at what
I
hanging
said,
out
when
with.
it went from just those grubs. Man, I remember we switched from honey hole grubs to then gulp came out, and the gulp shrimp was like,
gulp was
my
everything.
gosh.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like you catch anything.
If you ever go fishing with somebody, make sure you bring gulps.
Yeah,
Because if there's
absolutely.
a fish there, they'll eat it.
For some
I
reason.
wouldn't bring them, but I love when Austin does.
Well, Austin and I we've started out some days rough, and he'll say, "Man, don't hate me for this." And gulp.
Hey, I ain't above it.
Uh-uh.
I ain't above it one bit. I like
I mean-
catching fish, man.
I can't afford them things.
If it's what's working, that's what I'm gonna be
If the
throwing.
fish are there, they want to eat. They'll eat them things.
Yeah.
Going back to the expo real quick, one of the things that I enjoy the most about these expos or any of the different things, shows and stuff we go to is, I enjoy learning from the people that does it, the charter boat captains and all the ones that come out that's been doing it for years. But my favorite thing is to talk to these people that come up and say, what is this? What are you trying to catch with this? I'm a bass fisherman. What is this popping cork thing? And us walking through the procedure of trying to show them how to use it. And it's happened multiple times where we've sold, a handful of things to these young kids, and they've come back 2 years later, a year later to the next show and said, "Hey man, I tried your stuff, it worked, and I loved it." And that's just I enjoy that the most. I mean, honestly.
I do.
Yeah, and that's I'm gonna jump onto that because I couldn't have said it better. That is the coolest thing, and it's people. I've done a couple seminars this year at some of the local saltwater fishing clubs and stuff.
I didn't know that.
They'll-
Big timer you.
No,
I
not at
know.
all. That's what I'm saying. They asked me to come speak, and I'm like, why me? I have nothing to.
That's what I
I'm
would
still
ask.
learning. It's so but it's crazy to me. It's like,
Is this a misprint?
Yeah.
but it's like, who wants to hear what I have to say when I'm still a student? And it's one of those things.
It's
but
very humbling. I got a chance to speak
Yeah.
to the CTO kids, and I was like, these kids are not going to care what I have to say. And then when I told them that I had a YouTube, they thought it was pretty cool. But then when I opened the tackle, I said, well, here, I'm going to show you guys what I use. Man, every phone come out. They said, you're going to actually show us what baits you use? And I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? They're like, nobody else will show us. Why not? Teach them, man. Teach them.
it is so rewarding. Just like Ryan said, it is so rewarding to help somebody put somebody on some tackle, them go out and be successful and come back and tell you about it. There isn't anything you can't put a price tag on.
No.
It's the same way
so
with us,
fun.
whether it comes with fishing or deer hunting or whatever.
That's right,
We're,
yeah.
we're at a point now where I'm so happy to watch him kill a deer. And he's so what
Oh, yeah.
we were so happy to see Bubba kill his first deer. It's about passing that along, and
Bubba's done cashed out.
He's
on us.
untapped
Yeah,
out.
he's
He's
untapped.
untapped out.
He gave his name on the podcast. That's
it.
all you're gonna get.
That's all right.
But
You got to
it's-
start somewhere.
that's what it's about, man. Just
Yeah.
teaching that next generation, and we're learning every day. Like I said, I started out trying to catch redfish and trout with Zoom fluke baits,
Yeah.
and with
Still a great bait.
yeah.
Still great.
Well,
still
here's the way that I look at it is, to each their own. I love everybody, but if you keep the information that if you don't want to teach somebody else, then you've lost sight that somebody taught you.
Exactly.
Amen.
Somebody taught me what I know. Multiple people. I'm learning from y'all every single day. Somebody taught me what I know. So who am I to withhold that from helping somebody else learn the same? And Bubba's back. He just walked back. He heard his name. But who am I to withhold that from him being the next generation? We are here. You're listening to this podcast. We're here at this expo. We are together because we have a passion for fishing. But what happens when we're dead and gone?
Yep.
We want to make sure that this passion goes to the next generation, and that we make sure that we are teaching them the right way to go about it, so that this fishery continues to grow and becomes even better.
That's one reason, and me and Gaston, we talked about starting a podcast, or when we talk about fishing or whatever, I told him, I said, dude, and their whole thing with Blind Hog, right, it's kind of become its own thing, and it's really weird, it is, but it is. And part of that was I wanted the memories, right? I wanted the memories on the YouTube videos. I wanted the memories, whether it's a podcast, right? But when we're old and sitting around, I want to be able to pull it up. And when these go digital and go out there, right, they're there. That's the cool thing about it. Sometimes you put stuff out there you don't want to be around, but sometimes you put actually stuff around that, you know what, in 30 or 40 years, if I'm still kicking around, hey, baby, turn on the podcast. Let's listen to my old buddies and sit there and laugh about fishing. Or when Bubba gets older, he can say, hey, guess what? When I was 11 years old, I got to be on a podcast sitting around with my crazy uncle and his buddies and my dad, and he pulls it back up. That's stuff that you don't think about at maybe an age younger,
That's awesome.
but you think about it down the road, and you're like, man, this is gold. Like, this is gold.
What happened, you just said earlier on in the podcast, you went back and found some videos of way back in the day when your dad was holding the great big camera up on his shoulder and everything. That's the same thing you're doing
Dude, I was
now.
probably
You're
9 or 10
making
years
those
old at
memories.
most. Yeah, I was probably at the most 9 or 10.
It's just like going on YouTube right now. You type in Austin Hall music, and
Oh,
you'll
don't
bring
do
Oh,
he did.
Oh, baby.
yes,
Wow.
sir. Did we just bring up the
That,
crankbait
that's
sound?
YouTube, Austin Hall music.
Do you have the mullet like you do now?
So can we edit that?
No, sir. There ain't no way. There ain't no
I
way,
didn't have
partner.
the mullet back in the day when I was coming up through high school and a little bit after high school. I was a up and coming country music star. I was pretty good with a 6th string and
Hot dog.
played some real big venues at the local Juice and Java coffee shop in Canyon, North Carolina. Pretty much with an audience consisting of my family.
They showed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I cannot remember for the life of me the password to that YouTube account, so I can't get in there to delete it anymore. So they're there. So have at it, enjoy it.
I can't wait. I'm gonna check it out when I get off
A little
here.
bit
Actually,
of Dixieland delights. And all
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah, there's
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's
Well,
great.
You know, I want to say too that fishing is in stages, right? I mean, when you're young, you're trying to catch the most fish and the biggest fish and all this. And Austin and I experienced a pretty cool day on the water where we were absolutely wearing them out, and there was guys fishing around us, and we didn't notice them catching anything. And we just decided that hey, they're biting what we've got, so we threw them some cork, some voodoo shrimp, and we got completely out of the area. Just said, look, you guys have it. They're right here.
Yeah.
Just fish and catch them. We have no clue what those guys did that day.
So-
if you're listening to this, tell us if you
Yes,
caught any
please.
fish. Because we're curious about that. But it really was. We just wanted these guys to catch fish. We had caught 20 or so and nice ones, having a good day. And I said, well, we'll just go try another spot. And it's little things like that too. And these were adults. But if adults, kids, whoever it is, if you can help somebody. I think they remember that for a long time.
we have talked about that ever since that day. Always wondering
It's what they call
what happened, because what it was we came around at the end of just a dock and found them stacked up. I caught a few, he caught a few. It was on. They wasn't catching anything, so we walked up. We rode over there, tossed them some corks, some voodoo, and we went back to that spot. I think I caught 1 or 2 more, and he caught 1 or 2 more. And me and him kind of made eye contact, and we both said, let's get out of here. Tell them to come over here and catch some fish. And that's, like you said, that's what it's about. And then we were rewarded. The next spot we went to, we just kept catching
I think we caught more at the second
we just
spot.
kept catching them. But we've always wondered that. It's
It's better to give than to receive.
it's like Ryan was saying earlier, I get just as much joy out of helping or seeing other people succeed and catch fish or succeed in general.
Yeah.
There's all these tackle companies that we talk about. We've made a lot of friends in the tackle industry, and a lot of people look at each other in the fishing industry. It can be pretty cutthroat, and it's one of those things where maybe I'm wrong. I'm not really a businessman. I've never been in it, there again to make bukus of money. But a lot of people within the industry look at each other as competition. I don't. I get as much joy helping somebody else succeed in another business, or whether it's somebody sitting in a deer stand, or whether it's somebody out on a boat trying to catch their first trout. It's one of those things where we're teaching the next generation, or we're teaching somebody that's just getting into it, and helping others succeed.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to tell you something that happened this past summer that was real rewarding to me. It's like Weston Bubba's sitting here right now. He's 11. My oldest son's 19. And he was out with some of his friends fishing this past summer, and he called me and he said, Daddy, he said, and he knew enough of what me and Austin had taught him over the years. He said, I got 3 different baits right here. What should I throw? Here's what the water looks like. Here's what this. And it was just rewarding for him to remember what we had taught him over the years. And I gave him some advice, and they went out and caught some fish. And is just passing that along. You know,
that's the whole premise behind Salt Strong. And you know, and Ross mentioned Salt Strong. That's the part I love about it, man. I don't claim to know the most. I don't claim to be the wisest and have all the alphabet soup behind my name. But what I do know, I'm willing to pass along. And I think that's very rare. And that's why you get a group of people of like-minded that sit around like this, and you share and you talk and you run across other people and at booths or wherever, or they come up and talk to us. And a lot of people, like you say, man, I don't understand it. I mean, I don't know. I just, as I've got older, and I don't say I'm old by any means, but as I've got older, I guess my whole thought process has changed. And the whole thing is, if you can make it better for somebody else, just make it, man.
That's right.
Just make it. I mean,
and I love what Salt Strong's doing. You know, I love that they've made a business. You know, yeah, they sell some stuff, but they've made a business out of that.
The teaching
the foundation
platform,
of teaching.
And the foundation's community. And what people forget is community is what people are craving.
That's right.
There's a fishing community that is inside of all the people coming through that expo today, right? They're looking for something. And you know, you can either direct people to a great passion and a great thing, or people are going to go looking probably somewhere else for it, right? But why let them get discouraged? If they can go out and they can find a great thing and be on the water in God's creation, if you can open up a conversation with somebody about the Lord and about fishing and about all these things, what's a better place to show them, right? Hey, you can have a meal with somebody. You can catch, actually, you can clean it and you can cook it. I mean, what else? That's the essence of being an outdoorsman right there, regardless of what you do, whether you're duck hunting, whether you're deer hunting, whether you're fishing, whether you're freshwater, saltwater, whatever. That's the way it's been for thousands of years, right? That's the way it wasn't always the supermarket around the corner, you know, so there's still that inside of us. And so when we do it, man, let's do it with pride and do it in a way that makes the next person able to do that as well, right? I mean, it's just a good time. Yeah. Well, guys, we have had a awesome conversation. I appreciate all of you so much. I hope you guys at home have got something out of this, and that, you know, just if nothing else, it's jogged thoughts or memories. It's also helped you kind of take some good information, whether it's about the leader line we talked about, right? Whether it's about why do you have that passion, and maybe you've kind of lost that passion, but you want to renew it. Get around some folks of like-minded beliefs, the things that they want to do that's going to help you along. Maybe you've got a wealth of knowledge. Take a youngster under your wing and teach them. Whatever it is, get involved with somebody or a group and see about helping them out. But I just want to say thank you to each of you. I appreciate you coming along. Appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing these memories and teaching moments. But we're going to get ready and wrap it up. So from Corey, from Austin, from Ross, from Gaston, from Ryan, and from Bubba, we appreciate you. We're going to sign out of the Raleigh show, and we look forward to talking with you on the next Blind Hog Adventures. Y'all be blessed, and we'll see you on the next one.
There's nothing finer to me than to be on the water when that sun comes peeking in under that Carolina sky in the Lord's creation, ripping some lips on my favorite waters, taking blind hog adventures with some of my best buddies.